Wow, you guys hate this knife, don't you? So, first off, how you doing? That's how I usually start the video, right? Hey, what's going on, guys? Not today. Today is a little bit sad because you guys think my knife sucks. But you know what? That's okay. I got thick skin. But I want to talk about it. You guys hated on this knife so much that it is justifying, at least in my mind, to make another video on it. Because I think that I know why. So I posted basically just saying that, you know, I first got this, I thought it was pretty neat, and kind of looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, something's up here, and things were kind of off, and these natural stones are a little chipped here because they're natural stones, and that's what happens if you bang them around and use the knife. And I think it's cool if someone got this and used it, you know, but it was kind of intended to be a collectible. I'm not sure if Brian Yellowhorse, when he, you know, customizes these knives, if he's intending on people carrying them and using them, or if his true intention is for people to just enjoy it in a display case or on the wall or something. But anyway, nonetheless, this was sold, and it was obviously carried and used and maybe dropped a couple times, it seems like, and I got it in trade. Now, the comments were pretty, like I said, just a little rough around the edges. I heard everything from like mall ninja knife to looks like something you got at a flea market, something you'd pick up at a gas station. You know, I heard it was so ugly, it was ridiculous. So you guys are hating on it, and that's okay. You know, when I make videos, I'm inviting your opinion. That's basically what it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't post them for the internet to see. I'd record a video and then just watch it myself, and that would be it, and that would be weird. So I don't do that. I don't know anyone who does that, records videos for themselves to enjoy later, and nobody else. Like I said, a little off if you're doing that. But that's okay. I don't like judging people. But as I'm reading the comments, I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. You know, not everyone's into every knife. But predominantly, most of you, at least who commented, and I have to remember that too, you know, if 1,000 people watch a video and there's 50 comments, that's not a great representation of the viewers. It's a great representation of all the people who decide to take time out of the day to comment. Generally speaking, it's the idea of what's going on with people watching the video. But it's not always the case. You know, maybe if 100 people commented and said it was ugly, maybe 300 people thought it was really cool and just never decided to comment. The likelihood of that may be slim, maybe just a little bit. But anyway, so I want to make this video again, first saying it's okay if you don't like it, you think it's ugly. One thing I would like to see, and I have to say this goes across the board with most knives, that this has a nice decorated front scale, but nothing on the back. Okay, and a couple of people pointed this out. This is obviously common. It's very common on these types of knives with, you know, stones and stuff, because generally speaking, they get quite big and thick and heavy. So adding it to the other side would certainly change things. Plus, it would add a lot of cost. These natural, you know, turquoise and stuff, it could be kind of expensive. But I would prefer it. I would prefer no pocket clip on this and the same motif on the back side. In fact, when my fingers wrap around this knife, this is super comfortable. Like, I've had regular just stainless steel Spyderco Delicas before. This is way more comfortable. You have to imagine this is polished, rounded stone. It is super, super comfortable to actually, like, if I just close my eyes and we take that part out of it, wow, it's definitely an upgrade. It gives it a little heft. I mean, a stainless steel knife is already a little chunky. But anyway, moving on. Some of you had an issue with, well, you know what, because this is missing the metal, because it's chipped, that's what actually makes it ugly. If it was brand new, some of you might like the design. But generally speaking, a lot of you don't even like the design. They're like, why would you do that? Why would you glue rocks to a knife, right? That's stupid. And I started really thinking about that for a little bit, and it dawned on me that I'm getting old. And what I mean by that is back when I got into knives, okay, back like in the 90s, mid-90s, late 90s, or whatever, this was hot, man. People loved this. But I'm kind of looking back and thinking maybe it was just a fad. Maybe it was a passing fad because this was cool back in the day. You know, I kind of feel almost like I made a video and it was pointed at me and I came out and I felt good about myself. I'm thinking, man, I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I got my nice shirt on, you know, my right now hair, because I actually have hair, which you guys will eventually see when I lose enough weight. But my hair's slicked back, you know, and I get on camera and I'm like, yeah, I know I look good. But I'm wearing like some 70s shirt with a massive collar or something. I'm just way dated and way out of style. And I think that's what happened here. I think I got a little taste that there's a lot of younger viewers, and this is just something that's just out of style. Okay, specifically any kind of stones or anything like that that's mounted onto knives. This was super popular back in the 90s. People across the board liked it. Now you don't necessarily like all the color, like this is purple in the middle. It's hard to tell, it's actually pretty dark, but when the light hits it right, it is definitely purple. Something I didn't notice either. I thought this is more of a darker color, like gray or black or something. I would have probably preferred this black that's in here. It's kind of marble looking stone. But anyway, you might look at it and be like, well, even if it was pristine, and some people commented, even if this is brand new, I still think it's ugly because you just don't like this southwestern thing. And that's cool. You don't have to like it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you like southwestern stuff, but you don't like the stones. Maybe it would be better if this image was engraved into it or something. Now, if you didn't see the up close on the other video, you know, between like the turquoise and the stones and this buffalo in the back and this Native American head, you know, with like the buffalo, I don't know, hide with the horns, kind of a, I don't know, like some kind of a headdress or something like that. It's very southwestern, okay? And I think it's cool. Someone actually commented and said, I bet there's a belt buckle that matches that knife. And it honestly made me laugh out loud. Like, I'll put LOL on stuff all the time. Sometimes LOL means like, yeah, I smirked a little. Sometimes I chuckled to myself in my head. This time I literally just laughed out loud. Because I guarantee there's a belt buckle out there, because I know Brian Yellowhorse has customized belt buckles, again, with the whole southwestern theme. There's a cowboy somewhere with a very similar knife and a belt buckle to match. So I don't know if that was meant to be sarcastic or true, but it is true for sure. So anyway, so yeah, what I'm kind of getting at is that, I mean, first off, not every knife is everyone's cup of tea, no matter how cool a knife looks. Like, I mean, like the PM2 is a great example. I whipped that thing out and most people like it, but some people think it's ugly. They think it's so ugly and they would never carry a knife like that, right? So I've always kind of sided on, you know, to each their own. But the reason that this was so cool to me is because I grew up with this. I was so familiar with Brian Yellowhorse's patterns and his, again, a lot of the stuff was on like buck 110s and buck 112s. And when this was offered in trade, and by the way, the person did send a picture of this, and in the picture, it looked just like this. I just didn't notice these details because some people are like, oh, you got ripped off, man. So I did want to comment on that. There is no hard feelings to the person who traded. I mean, of course, I didn't know it was broken, but that is my fault. That is 100% my fault for not being astute and really blowing up the picture and looking at it on my phone and critiquing it and stuff. I just saw this. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I made the assumption that it was in fantastic condition. He never said it was broken. He never said it was in brand new condition. He just said, hey, I have this knife. But in all fairness, he sent me a picture of it. But I get hundreds of messages. So I'm going through, you know, the message, I open the message, hey, and we're working out a trade deal, whatever. And the main trade, which I don't even know if I posted the video yet, but it was for a PM2 I was really looking for. This was an extra thing to add value to my side of the trade because I was giving him a customized Griptilian, and it was worth more than the PM2. So he's like, oh, I got this to throw in to kind of like add up and match values a little bit. And I thought, yeah, sure. I've always wanted to try a Brian Yellowhorse knife. But then I made my, you know, I got it, I thought it was cool, and I looked at it like, oh man, then I made my video, hey, it was kind of broken. And that was not to complain about it at all. I have no complaints. Like I said, I plan on carrying and using this thing. So that's what I still plan on doing. But it's just unfortunate because I thought it was in better condition. But that wasn't really the point of that video. The point was really kind of ask anyone who has these knives that have customization where something is mounted to it, in this case, literally glued. And some people point out, you know, it could have been dropped. It is possible that it got really hot, maybe inside of a car or something, and the epoxy loosened up. Someone else said maybe they were cleaning the knife with some kind of solvent that maybe loosened the glue and then it fell off, so they glued it back on, but it was crooked. Who knows what the story is? I'll never know exactly how it got to this condition. But, you know, the bigger point there that I was trying to get across is asking you guys, the collectors who have these knives, do you carry them? Because yes, natural stones are natural stones. And I don't know, there's really not much you can do to protect this. Someone else had commented like, you know, it's really on the maker, because if you're gonna do this, you have to make sure people can use them and beat them up and they're fine. I don't think there's a way to do that. I don't think it's possible unless you literally had like a thick epoxy on the whole thing. If you are able to touch the stone that's natural, you can hit it with something else and break it, you know? So there's no way to make a knife like break proof. You could take a titanium frame lock and probably throw it off a building and it might work. Maybe it gets bent out enough where it doesn't lock up the same. You know what I mean? But nothing's really like, you know, break proof. It's just inherently, if you have natural stones on a knife, obviously it's going to be more fragile. And as I mentioned in the first video, most people who have these knives, they're on the wall in a display case to admire. And maybe that's where it belongs. Maybe it's not really meant, whether the designer and creator, you know, thinks this way or not, knives of this style are more meant to admire and maybe fondle a little bit, but not actually carry and use and drop and throw around and bump into things, you know? It's just inherently more fragile. But yeah, I think it's a dated design. And I'm sure if I really sat and thought about it, you know, there's some other knives out there that aren't as popular now as they used to be because it was a fad. It was a passing fad, right? I just think it's kind of funny because I do think that some of the hate comes from the fact that this is dated. You know, I used the analogy before with the clothing, but I think cars are a great analogy since so many people like cars. Everyone has their own personal taste. I could roll up in, you know, a used 1985 Mustang 5.0, and half of you are going to look at that and be like, what the hell is that thing? What a stupid car, right? But some of the older dudes are going to be like, hell yeah, brother, 5.0. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, there's definitely, you know, different generations that like different things. And I think this is cool, but I think some of my influence is the fact that when I grew up, when I first got into knives, it was cool and everyone agreed it was cool. It might not be cool anymore, but it's cool to me. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So many of you said I would be caught dead with that in my pocket. Well, I'm proud to have it in my pocket because I just like all kinds of knives for different reasons. And sometimes I will carry it and I will enjoy it, you know. Doesn't matter what other people like, although, generally speaking, people like to have things that everyone agrees are cool. Not everyone's going to drive, you know, that car that everyone thinks is ugly and still be proud of it, generally speaking. Now, I do have to point one thing out before I go. I do think it's pretty funny that a lot of you guys pretty much agree this thing is ugly as sin, yet you're begging people online to pay 3 times as much of the original price for one of these bad boys. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. You know, this is just a fun video. That's all. It's just the comments were so crazy. I had to make another video on it. But anyway, it's all good. Like I said, I don't take any offense to it. There's no personal attacks. You guys can think every knife I like is ugly. Now, speaking of ugly knives, I got another video coming up soon talking about a trade for a knife that I know a lot of you guys think is butt ugly, but I love it anyway. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. Even if you think my knife is ugly, that's okay. We could still be friends. See you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.